And we are live here at the AIBC Summit, killing it. Just ran into our friend Toufi Saliba, the infamous Toufi Saliba. Toufi joined us in Vienna, as well as some other places. He is a thought leader in the AI field, as well as metaverse and all these lands. And as a matter of fact, he called me a little while ago, and he said, Bruce, I want you to get it on this deal. $4,000 applied. He says, Bruce, they're $200,000 now. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. So I know you get to work with your family as well, like I do with my brother. Pretty amazing stuff. Iman has done a great job pulling us all together here. Here we are in Dubai. He's come in from Toronto. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing here at the summit and what you have going on.
Sure. So tomorrow I'm speaking on stage at the AIBC Summit stage, along with Ben Gortzel. And Ben Gortzel, he's a renowned AI scientist. He's written 25 books on the topic. He's the guy who coined AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. And tomorrow we will be speaking about hypercycle.ai, which is effectively, if you were to think they're going to be global brain, each and every AI engine is likely to be a neuron. The connectors between those neurons cannot be the existing internet. We already established that because AI talks value with other AIs. Those connectors, we will be building them on Toda IP, and it's basically, the project has been announced tomorrow that I'm taking a lead on that project, and it's a combination between Cardano, Singularity Net, and Toda IP. So we're bringing all of the years and years from many different angles to get them to converge and build the AI of blockchains. And that's happening tomorrow. We're announcing it right here at 11 o'clock.
Wow, that's really cool. 11 o'clock is a great time to do it as well on the main stage because, of course, we were laughing about it earlier. Everybody wakes up around 10 a.m. here in Dubai, you know, so 11 a.m. is the perfect time. Place will be packed. You know, it's pretty interesting. You know, you've been working in this AI field for how long?
Yeah, pretty much all my professional life, which is about 21 years now, and in cryptography, as you know. So I think cryptography and AI, they're kind of like Romeo and Juliet. Like one of my mentors and godfather in cryptography, Silvio Micali, says that's kind of like the Romeo and Juliet. And you know, actually, in fact, Silvio and I, we've had something that he named it at the time Toda Algorand, and then we diverged into Toda and Algorand. There might be some reconversions in the future or whatnot, but right now, what's happening is that in the last year, what we've noticed is there's something called the Earth 64, which is a network of nodes. It's kind of like the ground that can connect us all. So having that ground, imagine an NFT container for every single asset everywhere on the planet. But that container, imagine the cost of that is 0.00001 cent. That will disrupt e-commerce, that will disrupt currencies, that will disrupt everything that ever existed on this planet. So we brought this about a year ago, and that's the one that you mentioned earlier, that's gone up about 100x. And that, we're bringing it into the hypercycle as well. So as you can see, like bringing all of those angles, and not just like one single thread. And this is what it when you see that somebody's bringing in all of their reputation, including families and so forth, you know that they are extremely confident of that thing. You know, so that's the confidence we have today, and I'm excited to be part of this event again. I actually only learned a couple of days ago that I'm coming here. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the life. That's the life, right? How long are you here for?
Until Friday. Supposedly going to Vienna on Friday.
Very nice.
It's not 100% confirmed.
One of our favorite cities.
Yeah, I love Vienna. This is like where we went before COVID.
Absolutely.
To your event.
Yes.
That was a great event. It was. I think it was the Washington
Elite.
Yes.
in the Sean Brew Palace. We're actually
Right
on Thursday. We're doing a gala at the Monaco Pavilion inside Expo 2020. So I definitely want you to come.
I would love to. I remember at the Washington Elite, something that I don't forget when you introduced me to the audience, because many times before COVID, I used to speak in about 80 events per year.
Right.
And many times those events that they have got like a lot of like funding behind them or whatnot, that they have some sort of like payment that they pay. Somebody will be like, I refuse myself to get paid. I want to donate to a charity.
Right.
And you were so kind enough to actually acknowledge that fact to the audience. And I remember you told the audience, like, look, here's this guy. There's the people that usually spend like $20,000 for him.
Famous guy, world renowned.
And like honestly, I appreciate that, because
we did
a lot of times folks they just glance over it, whatnot, and it was a great event, great people that I've met.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah. It was much better with you there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We were really appreciative of it. And just to make that clear, he said, Bruce, right from the get-go, don't pay me anything. If you're gonna pay something, donate it to charity of your choice.
Right.
Is basically what you said.
Right. I never take anything. Like, and I said, oh no, you have this much, you gotta give it to a charity.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal to see also the crowd that you've had. Later on, I met your brother. You met my brother. You can see like, you have confidence in something. You're willing to bring your own company, your own family into it.
Right.
That's huge.
That is huge. And I think with just to dissect a little bit of what he talked about as well, because it's hard to get your head around, even for me, the containers. Right, and these nodes are the containers, and they're being basically placed around the world in each quadrant of the world, right?
Yeah. The way your 64 works, because here's the thing: if you think about, if you ask anybody, ask a set of audience, I've tried it many times. Can you give me a set of numbers that is finite and unique to all of us on the planet? Even the North Koreans, they admit that it's finite, that it's unique. They have the same identification to it. It's also relatable to humans.
Right.
Ask people to give you that. They will think, they'll be like, I can't think of anything. Until you tell them, you're like, how about the geospatial coordinates down to the square centimeters? You're like, holy shit, we're standing on this thing. So there's a lot of things around. So imagine you take that set of numbers and then you bring the math. There's something called binary search tree. In computer science, any computer scientist, they know what's a binary search tree that is fully saturated complete. You bring that tree and plug it over those numbers. What does that tree do? It's a data structure. For those that don't know what data structure is, if you've ever used Google, the reason why Google finds your information very quickly, not because it's searching then, it's because it's constructed things in the data structure. Data structure is extremely important in computer science. So effectively, you have this data structure that is plugged in over the entire planet for every single square centimeter, and that is giving a lot of assurance that every single container can only be owned by a single entity in every block of time. Math does not lie. Math is deterministic. It's not probabilistic. It's not like, maybe 99%. Let me give you an example. If I ask you, or I ask David, or anybody, how many integers are between the number 2 and 4?
It's the same answer anytime.
1.
Right.
This is number 3.
Right.
It's impossible. That's it. And that's how math works. If there's a parent that has the number, it's like, let's say 101, the children, they're 1010, 1011. That's it.
Yep.
Beautiful. So that's what we're bringing to the equation. That's why when this reduces the cost of cryptography by over 99.99999%, guess what? The entire e-commerce world is going to be disrupted.
Yeah.
The entire finance, everything. So it's exciting that we're able to bring that piece of the puzzle. And hey, you bring one piece, everybody's bringing a piece.
Yep.
And this is what happens. We're bringing all the pieces, and then instead of disrupting the world, maybe we can transition them slowly for the smart ones. But guess what? Those that are not going to be transitioned, they are going to get disrupted. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can't help it. You got to tell them. But if they're not, it's kind of like that thing. David, help me halfway and buy the ticket. You know that story?
No, tell me.
So David used to go to the synagogue every Saturday and tell the God, why is it that this so-and-so won the lottery ticket and I didn't?
Okay.
Kept doing that for about 6 years.
Uh-huh.
And then finally the skies open and then the voice from the sky said, David, help me halfway and buy the ticket. So,
Okay.
So
I feel like I know most of those biblical stories, but I don't remember that one.
Yeah. But so you see, so then if a lot of industries they say no, this crypto thing can be very disruptive. We don't want it. Well,
Right.
look, we want to evolve, all of us in humanity, progressively. And when you're offering the chance for folks to kind of transition, that's a good thing.
Yep.
But if they don't want to come, they want to be disrupted. That's like look what happened in the banking system in Venezuela, in Lebanon, in a lot of places. Like, can't be that rigid. So eventually, technology it has certain things to deliver, and effectively, it's like efficiency, high security, and justice. At the end of the day, if you ask anybody in the crypto space what kind of unite you with others, it's justice.
Yeah.
If you're able to reduce the cost of justice everywhere in the world,
Right.
then if somebody is owed something, somebody will be paid.
Right.
You put your money in a bank and you have a deal.
Yep.
Well, that's the deal. They have to honor the deal every single time.
Every single time.
Not like it is in the world today, where like you put it there, then they say like, well, sorry, we have to change the regulations for a reason. Like, wait, you can change it after giving my money back.
Right. Well, and that's what really has, I think, scared the governments of the world so much. I mean, I talked about it on stage earlier last year in Miami, that it took, we have a monetary revolution going on, and, Nick Spanos coined that term. Now he was at our gala in the Versace Mansion in January, and he says, I'm not going to call it a monetary revolution anymore. It's a revolution. But
I saw him today, but I didn't get the chance to talk to him. Maybe I should find him.
He's here. We went back and forth on chat. He was in Riyadh, I think, at the Ritosa event. Now he's here.
Okay.
But the point is, it took like the governments of the world even 5 years to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, with blockchain and with these types of things, they can operate as a governmental structure, and that is very scary to the status quo.
Right.
And it's actually one of the things that brought me here to Dubai 5 years ago when they said they were going to put the government on the blockchain. So it's some pretty interesting stuff.
Right, right. Look, I mean, technology, it's there to service governments if they want to automate things. It's there to service people that want to get rid of bad governments. The technology, like anything, can be used by bad people. We already say it's kind of like oxygen can be used by bad people because they breathe. But there's certain limits of folks of what they can do in order to obstruct other people from evolving. But you know what? I've met a lot of people that are very well intended in using this technology.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people that they're not. So hopefully we can keep steering it towards getting more and more good people. Because at the end of the day, we should know what's good and what's bad.
No, 100%. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the TODA IP.
TODA IP is a protocol that we did not intend to build it as a protocol. It was in 2015. Dan Tolliver, who's like the ex-NASA scientist, I call him the rocket scientist in the house, my co-author, and we were trying to solve a lot of problems that they existed in the blockchain space, which adds a lot of friction. What kind of problems I'm talking about here? Folks that are deep in the blockchain space, they don't even identify them to be problems, and they still don't, many. But if you ever sit with the CTO of Cisco, for example, phenomenal technologist, knows technology really well, and you can't convince him on existing blockchain. If you sit with Moxie Marlinspike, the founder of Signal, and you cannot convince him on existing blockchain, maybe you need to come to terms that there's something that can be done better. Maybe. And look, I mean, we're here to criticize something. When we criticize certain elements of blockchain, we're not criticizing because we don't like it, because maybe we like it a little bit more, and we want the world to actually adopt it. Mm-hmm. So effectively, the TODA IP is that the protocol that started by solving the hash cache problem. The hash cache is that computation that's trying to prove that one machine, one vote. But maybe that one machine, one vote has been taken away over the years since 2011, as you know, that now there's only special machines that can do that, which gets it to be centralized again. Whether you like it or not, it's a reality. How can we build something that can make it decentralized? So we started with this thing to solve that, and we ended up with an entire protocol called Toda IP. So if anybody wants to maximize decentralization, they go towards Toda IP. If you want to make it centralized, then you can start talking about proof of stake, because JP Morgan had proof of stake in 1993, and it's called the one who's got the most money control the system. So that's not an innovation. I'm sorry. You know?
Right.
So with all due respect to a lot of proof of stake innovations themselves, they've done a lot of great work in cryptography and all that, but maybe they can reuse that work to something that can make it truly decentralized. And sometimes when you say this, for folks that they're not in decentralization, they say why? Let's go back to what I said earlier. Justice and no friction.
Right.
Because the thing is, if you can bring justice in Zimbabwe, but it's got a lot of friction, people will be like, forget it. Let's just put those people. Let's hang them.
Right.
But if justice can be provided with the least amount of friction, down to the penny, when you transact the penny, then we can have a better world. So that's what we're working on.
That is what we're working on, and it's one of the amazing things. You know, whether you were a liberal or a libertarian or Republican or Democrat or whatever it is, blockchain brought a lot of us that think like this together. Whether we lean this way or we lean that way, we can all agree on justice, on freedom, on owning our own assets.
We don't like exploitations either. So current blockchains have been exploited many times. So there are folks like myself that want to not just point at the problem, we want to fix it. So that's where Toda IP comes from. Toda IP comes in and says like, you know what, we don't want to stand there and say like, that thing has got a problem. Well, everything's got a problem. Why don't you help me solve it instead of point? Does it have something that is good? If it does, let's add more good to it.
Right.
Let's remove the bad. That's what we try to do. Yeah. Sometimes we get misunderstood with Toda IP. They think we're anti-miners. They think they were anti-exchange and whatnot. Listen, brother, we're not anti-anything. We're trying to actually make everything better.
Of course.
We don't like exploitations. We want things to be as secure as possible. The highest amount of security can be achieved without having to have the highest friction. And if folks they don't want to come to terms with this, I'm sorry, we're bringing it, and we will bring it. So
that is awesome. Yeah. So it's Toufi Saliba or Toufi Saliba, as I think is the correct pronunciation of it. World-renowned guy. Thanks so much for sitting down. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
It really is. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., big announcement here on the main stage, AIBC. Do you have a website, something you want to share?
Hypercycle.ai.
Hypercycle.ai.
Yeah, man.
And hopefully we'll see you on Thursday,
too. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, guys.